Because let's be real, let's be honest, the inevitability is the fact that you would never hurt a person or never disappointment is not true. In fact, that expects perfection in an imperfect being. However, it's what you do after. So, recently, I wanted to talk about disappointment and failure, right? And I wanted to talk about the shame within disappointment and failure, and how do we understand that? How do we accept that? How do we move on from that pain, from the feeling, from the disappointment? One of my biggest fears have been I'm a failure. That's one of my biggest fears. One of my biggest fears is that I'm on to nothing in life. I know, it's scary. Alright, because that's one of my biggest fears, I kind of just rushed into this video. I don't know what I'm saying. But yeah, one of my biggest fears has always been that I'm a failure. And I recently watched this woman, she was talking about the fact that sometimes you just need to accept certain things to move on. You need to accept what it is to get away from the fear, to get away from the shame. So when I was trying to understand this specific topic, I was like, I'm a failure. So I accepted, okay, first I'm a failure. And then eventually I started to accept that feeling of shame that was there. And I started to normalize it, because I feel like what we tend to do is we put these labels on us, so that disappointment, failure, and this and that, and then we'd never ask, okay, then what? Okay, you're a failure, then what? And that's the question. You're a disappointment, then what? That is the question we must ask ourselves when we're trying to understand certain things, when we're trying to understand how we move, how we push, how we move forward. Because let's be very real, let's be very honest. Half the time, these thoughts of I'm a disappointment, all these different labels, they thrive in shame. But from the time you start asking the question, then what? They eventually fall away. And how do you move on from that? This is the question, how do we move on from failure? How do we move on from disappointment? How do we move on from hurting someone or disappointing someone or failing at something? How do we move on from that? We accept that we are imperfect. We accept that we are imperfect and we have flaws, and we're gonna hurt people and we're gonna hurt ourselves sometimes. Yeah, tough. I know. But sit down with that. Really absorb that fact. Really sit down and be like, okay, I'm a failure. Let it sit within your chest. Let it embody it for a good second. Not too much, because. But then we must ask ourselves, then what? Then what? Not, okay, I'm a failure. Now what? Do I just stay in this place? No. We must move forward with what we're feeling. We must move forward. We must give way for light. We must give light. We must give way for joy. And now you ask yourself, okay, I feel that this, what am I going to try next? What am I going to try to succeed at next? Am I going to still hack at this? Am I going to still try this again? Am I still going to figure it out? Or am I going to try something new? This is what we must ask ourselves. We must allow repair, accountability, and the lesson to be learned within these different things. Okay, I'm a disappointment. Is there something that could be learned here? Okay, I'm a failure. Okay, I feel that this. Okay, disappointed. Is there something that could be learned there? What was my part to play in the situation? What did I do that I could have stopped from happening? This is not to give way to regret, because let's be real, let's be honest, regret is just something we use to weigh down ourselves, because it doesn't allow us to say, okay, cool, I've learned this, I'm gonna let go of this. Regret gives no way for lessons, and don't say everything, because life is sometimes great, but majority of things you can give meaning to. Majority of the bad things you can give meaning to, and you can learn something from it. So yes, you're a failure. Yes, I'm a failure. Breathe it in and then let it go. Now what? Now what is the plan? Now what do I do? Let go of the shame, let go of the regret, let go of any negative emotion you feel towards this. Let it go with that breath. Let it go and accept what it is. You've accepted it. Now ask yourself, now what? Move towards something you can do. Move towards something you want to do. Accepting that these things will happen. People will disappoint you. You will disappoint people. No one is perfect. You will fail at something. Everyone fails at something at least once in their life. Everyone hurts someone at least once in their life. But it's the what you do after that matters. Is what you do after the fact. Take away the shame. Take away the fear. Take away the doubt. Figure out what it is you need to do after to help yourself get over this. Because let's be honest, it's just a hurdle. There's no shame. There's no fear that needs to be present, because the fear of failure is just you thinking that there's consequence after you fail. Yes, there may be consequence after you fail, but at the end of the day, you can get back up. If you're down at the bottom of the barrel, all you could go is up. If you're down at your last, all you can go is up. It doesn't get worse from here. You just gotta go up, babes. You're just gonna go higher. And understanding that over time, you're gonna look in hindsight and be like, yeah, this propelled me to learn something. This propelled me to understand something. This propelled me to let go of my shame towards this specific thing. Is when you're gonna be thankful for it. But for now, you first must accept and then ask the question, then what? Now what? Now what do I want to do? Do I want to proceed and keep trying? Do I want to try something new? Do I want to do this or do this or do this? Because life must move on, and you must allow yourself to move on. There's a trait that kids have. They allow each emotion to pass through them. Joy, sadness, thing. And after that emotion passes, they let go of it. And you need to allow yourself to let go of what you felt. You need to allow yourself to let go of what it is. You cannot allow what you felt and what you are feeling to hold you down from how much joy, love, laugh, and success, life, and how much life there is after failure, how much life there is after disappointment. There is more to life than just this. Love you, darling.